Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel Turkish Spotlight Secrets. Today I'm bringing you a long-form, voiceover-friendly deep dive about Alina Vows and Umut Evirgen, two names that spark headlines the moment they step into the same frame. All the details are in this video, so if you enjoy thoughtful coverage rather than empty noise, please press the like button, subscribe, and, if you want to support the channel even more, click the join button down below. Thank you, and let's get into it. Over the last few weeks, a single detail has set the internet on fire: matching rings. Not a red carpet kiss, not a dramatic announcement, but two understated bands that appeared in multiple sightings and quickly became the subject of countless screenshots, zoom-ins, and side-by-side analyses. The first glimpse was subtle, almost too subtle to register: Alina stepping out of a venue with a neutral manicure and a thin, gleaming circle on her left ring finger. Hours later, at a different appearance, observers noticed the same minimalist silhouette on Umut's hand. By the next morning, the conversation had already shifted from "are those rings?" to "what do the rings mean?" Before we rush to conclusions, let's build a clear timeline. The initial sighting came during a public event with photographers present, the kind of occasion where every accessory is recorded from 5 angles. The second came in a more casual environment, a departure from a studio lot where lighting is harsher and details paradoxically stand out more. In both moments, neither Alina nor Umut drew attention to their hands. There was no manufactured reveal, no pointed gestures, no playful show and tell in front of the cameras. That restraint has, if anything, fueled speculation even more. What could the rings signify? There are several plausible explanations, ranging from the romantic to the practical. First, the most obvious interpretation. A private engagement or a quiet ceremony shared only with family and a small circle of friends. In an era of live-streamed proposals and branded wedding deals, a low-key commitment sounds almost radical, and many fans find the idea deeply appealing. Second, the promise ring possibility. A promise ring carries weight without the legal or celebratory structure of a wedding. It can mean we're serious while still protecting the fragile space where a relationship grows before the world puts it under a microscope. Third, a role-related or brand-related reason. Actors and directors borrow jewelry for shoots all the time. Sometimes an accessory moves from a character's wardrobe to real life for a day or two. Other times, a piece is part of a campaign look and continues to be worn off-duty for continuity during press. That explanation may be less romantic, but it happens more often than people think. And finally, the personal symbol theory: rings that represent milestones that have nothing to do with relationship status, a project wrapped, a year sober, a private vow, a loved one honored. In such cases, asking for a public explanation makes less sense, and silence should not be misread as evasive. What we do know is that Alina and Umut have approached their public lives with a blend of grace and caution. Their careers put them at the center of attention. Their personalities do not seem to crave that spotlight at every turn. When they do speak, they choose their words carefully. When they don't, the silence itself becomes a statement: less no comment, more not everything belongs to the crowd. This disciplined approach is one reason why their matching rings feel meaningful even without a caption. Online, the reaction has been a mosaic. Longtime admirers have responded with excitement and heartfelt congratulations, even in the absence of confirmation. Many point to the understated design as a sign of taste, maturity, and a desire to keep what matters simple. Others are cautious and prefer to wait for clarity, reminding everyone that accessories can mislead and that lives are not puzzles to be solved by strangers. And then there is a smaller group that looks at the entertainment industry's relentless rhythm: premieres, rehearsals, negotiations, and wonders if external pressure plays a role whenever a high-profile couple takes a visible step forward. Pressure is real in this world, but it appears in subtler forms than people expect. It rarely arrives as an ultimatum, it shows up as calendar math. 2 careers to schedule. 2 sets of expectations to balance. 2 families to protect from commentary. Public events that can either amplify joy or turn it into spectacle. In that landscape, a quiet ring can be a compromise, a signal to those who matter, without an invitation to those who don't. It's also worth noting the aesthetic choices that fans have dissected. The bands themselves, as far as photos allow us to see, are minimal, no high-set stones, no Baroque engravings. The simplicity suits Alina's well-known neutral palette and clean silhouettes. It also complements Umut's low-key, pragmatic style. Matching does not necessarily mean identical, sometimes it means speaking the same visual language. Two lives, one tone. How are media outlets handling it? With a familiar mix of restraint and temptation. On one hand, reputable platforms have learned that rushing to label private gestures can backfire. On the other hand, headlines about unexpected rings perform well, and the algorithm rewards speculation. In between those extremes, a few thoughtful voices have emerged, suggesting that the healthiest interpretation is the simplest: two adults making choices at a pace and in a style that feels right to them. Behind the scenes, people who work in production offer a different lens. They talk about how visible milestones, engagements, weddings, even moving in together, intersect with projects announced too early, and attention shifts from the work to the relationship. Wait too long, and the story leaks in a way that becomes chaotic. Many couples solve this by living a soft conformation, wearing something consistent, changing a routine in a way that is obvious to those who pay attention, and saying nothing until there is something to say. The matching rings fit exactly that approach. Let's also consider the audience's evolving role. A decade ago, celebrity relationships were filtered through weekly magazines and a handful of talk shows. Today, fans themselves generate the narrative through edits, threads, and microscopically detailed analyses of paparazzi photographs. That power can be beautiful when it turns into art and community. It can be invasive when it declares certainty where only curiosity exists. One healthy shift we can adopt as viewers is to replace the question, "Are they married?" with the question, "What would respectful curiosity look like here?" It means offering happiness without demanding proof. It means resisting the pull to make a private timeline public. And what about the couple's immediate future? Here is the most likely scenario. If the rings do signal a new stage, we will see a pattern of consistent, low-drama choices. A few family-centered gatherings. Occasional shared appearances with no theatrical gestures. A deliberate refusal to let personal news overshadow professional commitments. Perhaps, months from now, a measured confirmation, one paragraph long, arrives not as a breaking news blast but as a footnote to a larger achievement. That is how many grounded artists prefer to live, letting the work be the loudest statement, and letting love grow in the quiet. If, on the other hand, the rings belong to a different category, props, gifts, or personal milestones unrelated to the couple's status, the respectful response is the same. The absence of explanation does not entitle the public to demand one. In both interpretations, the constant is autonomy. These are two people with full lives who owe their fans the best work they can deliver and owe themselves a private space in which to rest, decide, and celebrate. There is one more angle worth exploring: symbolism. Rings endure because circles carry meaning, no beginning, no end. In relationships, as in careers, that image is powerful because it suggests continuity through change. Both Alina and Umut have navigated changes in the public eye, new roles, creative risks, attention cycles that lift and fade. If the rings hint at continuity, at a choice to keep walking together even as projects start and finish, then they are more than a headline. They are a quiet thesis statement. So where does that leave us today? With a picture that is suggestive but not definitive, romantic but not performative. With two artists who have chosen simplicity over spectacle. With a fandom that can choose to be encouraging without being intrusive. And with a story that will unfold at its own pace, not at the pace of our refreshing thumbs. If you enjoyed this thoughtful look at what matching rings might mean, and what they do not, please like this video, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss an update. If you want to support the channel's careful, respectful storytelling, consider clicking the join button to become a member. Your support helps us take the extra time to separate signal from noise and to celebrate the people behind the headlines as whole human beings. Thank you so much for watching my video. See you in the next one. Take care, and goodbye.